Welcome back to another episode of the LunkerChasers Podcast. I have an awesome guest in the studio today. I have my awesome buddy, Mr. Trey Paul.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Trey?
I'm good. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. It's good to have you here. I'm glad you made the trip over.
I'm glad to be here.
So Trey has been one of my buddies for a long time, and today we're actually going to be talking about the ups and the downs of being a co-angler. I know that resonates with a lot of people, especially this day and age. Now, I think a lot of people are getting out of it for obvious reasons, which we'll talk about. So, a little bit about how me and Trey met. So, Trey, I actually saw his picture on Instagram one day, and he was fishing at Green Pond Landing. Shout out Neil Paul. He was fishing at Green Pond Landing, and I was like, bro, I didn't think anybody could fish out there. And I was like, that's cool. And then, I started following him. I was like, because I started looking at all of like his profile and stuff of all of his fish pictures and stuff like that. I'm like, this is a cool dude. I like this dude. And then I saw that you went fishing with Brian Latimer, which is another one of my friends. And I was like, man, yeah. I was like, this dude's it. I was like, I'd like to know this guy. Well, I think we started like really, the first time we ever hung out was when we roomed together at Santee for that BFL.
That's right.
That was 2021. That's been a long time ago, man. It feels anyway. And so, yeah, so we went, we do Waffle House tournament bets and everything. So if I finish above him in the tournament, then he's got to buy my Waffle House and vice versa. And we just have a good time with it. So, right. So Trey, tell the people a little bit about yourself, and then we'll kind of get into, talking about the ups and the downs of the co-angling.
Yes, sir. Like I said, my name is Trey. 40 years old, truck driver daily. Just work for Coca-Cola and drive a truck for those guys. And when I get some free time, I love to fish.
Oh, yeah.
I don't own a boat, so I'm always either co-angling or fishing off the boat. Off the dock. Off the dock. Cut. But fishing off the bank or jumping in with certain buddies and fishing off the back of the boat. I
see you fishing with Brian a lot.
Yeah.
The fishing preacher man.
Yep.
I like Brian.
Yeah, but same deal. We met on Facebook. He saw me fishing Green Pond and me posting pictures. And I guess he noticed I didn't have a boat because I was always at Green Pond. And he reached out to me and was like, hey, dude, you want to go fishing? I was like, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And so ever since then, man, me and him, we linked up.
Never turn down a fishing trip. Never. No matter who it's for or who it's from or who asked you, never turn down a fishing trip.
That's right.
Words of advice.
That's right.
Matter of fact, okay, so you said you're a truck driver for Coke.
Yes, sir.
So I've actually seen some of your posts on Facebook of like early in the morning, like,
oh, man.
Are you that bad of a driver?
Well, it's not that. I do have some times where I'm either hit the brakes a little too hard or something like that. But
that's South Carolina driving for you.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes people pull out in front of you and you got to lock it up. And
oh yeah, so I'm definitely going to be sharing some of those pictures on this video for that because it's kind of fun because I just like looking at the captions of the pictures like "oops" or just, just something funny. This man keeps everybody laughing on the Facebook. We like old Trey. As a matter of fact, speaking of Coke again, he brought me a gift. So this is brand spanking new. I don't even know if I can show y'all this or not. Blackberry Dr. Pepper. And I'm going to get into it here in a little bit. But so I'm actually not going to product place it. I'm just going to place it over here. So, yeah. So, Trey, let's see. You are married. You've got.
Yes, sir.
You got 3 kids?
I got 3 kids.
I've been
married. I hope my wife don't watch this. Hold on. Let's see.
Shout out Trey's wife.
It'd be 18 years this year. October 20th it'd be 18 years.
Wow.
Yep.
Dude, that's so impressive.
I got a 21-year-old, 17-year-old, and a 15-year-old.
Oh, man. Oh, so you're almost a full empty nester then.
Yes, sir.
I don't know. I don't have any kids, so that's commendable, dude. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
The joys of fatherhood.
It's tough, but it's great.
That's
At
right.
The end, that's what they say anyway.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
All right, so we've talked about how we met. So now let's kind of dig into our topic for the day of being a co-angler. So I remember me and you had a really good tournament back. I think it was the Clark's. It was the Clark's Hill tournament. It wasn't the Santee tournament. I caught one fish. I think you beat me that time.
I think so.
I think you beat me in Santee, but I remember at Clark's Hill.
Not Santee.
Yeah.
I didn't beat you in Santee.
You didn't?
No.
I only caught that one fish though.
0. That's why.
I caught one. Oh yeah.
I didn't catch a thing.
I'll tell you, Santee, being a co-angler on Santee Cooper in the BFL, at this time of year when it's bed fishing season is, as good as I do, it's very rough.
Yeah.
I got very fortunate. I caught a 5-pounder the first time I ever did that. And I was like, I'm looking at fish all day, but I couldn't throw to it because of all the trees or cypress trees and grass and everything else. And but I remember that Clark's Hill tournament, I was top 5 for a hot minute, and then you come in and I saw you had a bag of fish. I'm like, oh man, I guess I'm buying the Waffle House tonight. Yeah, and I think I finished 9th and you finished 11th.
Yep.
That was a good tournament, man. That was so cool.
It was.
It's always fun when you and your buddies cash a check in one of those tournaments, or just cash a check in general.
Oh yeah,
because things be expensive these days.
Yes, very.
So tell me, what is, apart from that tournament, what have been some of your other good tournaments?
Last year was my best year. I finished Kiwi, which I always have a tough time on Kiwi, but I always do well in the BFLs. I don't know why. But last year I got 5th on Kiwi.
Wow.
And 2nd on Hartwell last year. So that was my best year. And I think that when I came in 2nd, I lost by, I think it was 4 ounces.
Golly.
I never got the W, so I'm still working for that. But yeah, Kiwi, Hartwell was my best tournament last year, and I think I had 13. I can't remember, 13 pounds.
Something.
Yeah.
I remember my best tournament that I ever had. I actually got to fish with a buddy of mine. I was fishing it was the South Carolina and the Savannah River divisions. I was fishing them back to back, and just boat trails. Mm-hmm. Well, I ended up I drew out with my buddy at Hartwell, and he straight up told me, he's like, dude, he's like, I've been catching fish pretty much all week, and they're again very fortunate to draw my buddy in this. I might have him on later on. He hasn't responded to my text message yet, but so he said, dude, we're going to be around fish. He said, just, I'll take care of you. I was like, okay. I was like, I'll hold you to it. And he just kind of laughed.
Right.
So we get out there, and he gives me a little swim bait head and a little swim bait. And he said, just throw it around. He said, that's all you got to do. And sure enough, that's what happened. I think I ended up catching 4 fish. I had the 5th fish buttoned up, but it just come off when it took a dive right beside the boat. Yeah. And it goes down, and I go to pull up, and I just, it just come unbuttoned. I was like, I'll have another opportunity. I didn't. Fishing was a little tough that day, raining and the whole 9 yards, but I caught 4 fish. I think I had 9, 15. I had right under 10 pounds with 4 fish. I finished 8th in that tournament, and first place was 11-6. So it was stacked right there. So if I'd have had that fish, I'd have won that. Yeah. I'd have won that. God. I'd have got the little fish trophy and everything. Right. And I said, I think about that all the time. I was like, man, that'd have been so awesome to win that. But it was cool, I still got it. I think it was a $400 check. It was still cool. Right. So it's always good. That was a stacked field too, because I think it was 210 boats. Dang. Of course, this was the days before the live scope and everything. Yeah, so, I remember, I'll tell you, another good tournament that I had was the the second BFL I ever had with Clark's Hill. Mm-hmm. I drew out, I can't remember the guy's name. He was actually getting on a plane in Chicago when we got the text message. So if you don't know if you've never fished a BFL before, basically what happens is when you sign up through FOW or MLF now, you get a random paired drawing or like random pairing, and you'll get a text message with your your boater's information. So basically you'll get his name, his phone number, what boat number you are, and what time you're due back at the weigh-in. Yeah. And that's how you know. That's how you know who you're fishing with. Well, get a text. He says, "Hey, I'm in Chicago." He said, "I'm on my way home." And I'm like, "Bro, it's freaking 7:30. Like, are you going to be okay to fish tomorrow?" So that's the first thing I'm thinking of is like, are you going to be okay? He's like, "Oh yeah." He said, I'll get home about midnight. I'll just go ahead and load the boat and I'll be sleeping at the ramp. I was like, okay, that'd be cool, I guess. Free, right? Free lodging, I guess. Mm-hmm. Well, meet up with him that morning, and I will never forget. He was in like a early '90s model Ranger, nice little boat. But we went from Wildwood at the bottom of Clark's Hill and went all the way. You know the ride. Yeah. Anybody else that's listening, they know, you might know that ride too. That ride all the way up the lake. We went right across from Soak Creek, right near the Dorn facility. Pulled off on his point. He's like, "I was catching him here last week." He said, "I think I'll catch him here again." We're throwing the Strike King one knocker rattle trap, and or lipless, however you want to call it. Yeah. And he caught one, I caught one, he caught one, I caught one, he caught one, I caught one, he caught one. We had 7 fish in the boat and like 8 casts. And dude. It was just on. I was like, dude, this is going to be an awesome day. Right. We literally went to the next spot, and he caught like 2 more. I caught 1. So now I'm sitting on a limit at this point, and I'm just like, dude, this is so much fun. Like I'm having a good time. I was like, because I had been told about the horror stories, which we'll get to in a little bit, but I had been told about those really, really bad draws and stuff like that. And I was like, it's whatever. I'm still going to go out and catch fish. Right. That was a lie. But no, it was really good, and he showed me a lot that day. But the only thing I hated was the ride back, because the front had moved in at like 10 o'clock. Like you could see the cut in the clouds of the front, like actually moving through. Right. And just the wind picked up the whole 9 yards, and we were playing in the dirt back in the creeks and stuff. So they're just throwing shaky heads in like this deep of water, right, and just catching them, dude. I think I ended up catching like almost 20 fish that day. But the problem was there wasn't no giants in there. There wasn't no lunkers. I think I had 5 for about 9.5. I think is what it was, 9.5. Yep. I think he ended up catching. He caught a big one right there at the end. He caught one that was like, I think it was like right about 4, but I think he had around 14 pounds. I think he finished like in the top 40. So I think he was like just a couple spots out of a check. Right. But to this day, I went to give that man gas money, and he said, no. He said, "I was going fishing anyway." And I've heard that so many times. He's like, "I was already going fishing." He said, "You don't need to give me gas money." Right. Like, no, dude. I had this was a fantastic day. I had so much fun. I was like, and it's just, it's customary to give you gas money. So you're taking gas money. Right. Homeboy reached into his tackle box. He took the money. He just kind of went, okay. He put his money in his pocket. He jumped in his boat and opened the box, and he pulled out 2 Mega Bass Vision 110s and said, "Here you go." Now, for those of you that don't know, that's like a $25 bait. And I think I gave him $40 of gas money. Right. And so to get that back was pretty cool. Yeah. I enjoyed that. Yep. So what other stories you got? I know you got some under your boat, or under your bill you got over there.
Stories or horrible stories?
Let's talk good stories. So we'll get to the horror stories in a
minute. I guess one of my best tournament on Hartwell last year was probably one of the best days I ever had, and it was the herring spawn deal. Oh man! And it was just the year before last. The herring spawn deal was going on, and I was wearing them out. Me and Brian on that day, practicing the day before. So
you kind of already knew what was going on then.
Oh yeah. So I was like, man, this is gonna be a great tournament. So the boater called me, the pairing or whatever, this was the year before, not my best term, but he called me and was like, "Hey, I'm not gonna fish the herring deal. I don't want to do that."
So my gosh.
Okay. So
that's the worst.
Fast forward to the next year, well, like I said, last year, and he was like, "Hey," he called me. I got the text from my link, and I said, not my link, but who I was paired up with.
Yeah.
And he was like, "We're gonna fish the herring deal." And when he told me that, I was just like, "Yes,
here we go, son. Here we go."
Yep. So that particular tournament, like I said, I came in second that day, and first spot we went to, I knew what I should have been throwing that day, but I started out with a fluke.
Mm-hmm. The customary herring spawn Lake Hartwell tool is the super fluke.
That's right. So we pulled up to the first spot, and he had a spot that he was going to, and he threw a shaky head, like a big Magnum shaky head. And
ooh, that's different.
Yeah, and he caught a spot like 4 pounds. It's huge. And I was like, dang. So we went to the next spot. It was like, there's a herring point right here we're pulling up to. And so I was throwing the fluke, and I kept getting short strike, boom, short strike, boom. It's like, man, so I was getting frustrated. Mm-hmm. And I got this little deal what I do with a fluke, and I don't want to say that. I don't want to tell everybody.
Oh, you ain't gonna give us no tips and tricks?
No.
Okay, maybe next time.
Yeah, but I was doing this thing, and I kept getting these short strikes, so I was very frustrated. So I said, you know what? We went to the next spot we left, but they kept hitting my bait, and I kept seeing them. I didn't tell him. I was like, so I just went to the next. When we went to the next spot, I went to my next bait, which is a little Kitech.
Mm-hmm. I like the little 2.8s.
Mm-hmm. And we were fishing in probably 3 feet of water. It was just, and we went up by the Clemson area. Mm-hmm. And I was throwing this Kitech around and caught one. And then we went a little bit further up. I caught another one. Then I caught one about close to 5 pounds.
Man.
Yep. And it was just back to back, and I was catching them right and left. And so then my next one came off of a fluke. I threw up in this bush and just worked it, and he just came out. Yeah, dude. And I was just like, oh,
that's a feeling unlike anything else.
And I was like, dude, this is my day. I just felt, I felt it. You know
what
I'm saying, that day. And
too, it's like, man, this is it.
Yep. So I thought I was gonna get the victory that day, which it was a great day anyway. Mm-hmm. But like I said, that was the best day I had on a fishing out the back of the boat in a tournament.
Oh ever. Man.
And we got up to the scale, and the guy in front of me, he had, like I said, I can't remember, but it was 5 ounces.
Oh gosh,
that I was short.
That is the worst feeling in the world. Well, I'll tell you this. This ain't it's kind of a CoAngler story, but me and my buddy Taylor, we fished that Chickamauga deal. You've seen the pictures and stuff I post all over Facebook and whatever else, in the video I had. It was a 3-fish limit. This was a team thing. It wasn't like him and me in the boat together, whatever. Yeah. This was me and him teaming up. 3-fish limit, Lake Chickamauga, first week of June, throwing deep crankbaits. We had 17.57 pounds on 3 fish. Bro, I ain't caught so many fish like that before in my life. We were throwing back 4-pounders like they were like 12 inchers. Like it was the most fun like I've ever had in my life. Dang. And we lost. We had 17.57 on 3 fish, and the guy that won had 17.73 on their scale, which equates to like less than 5 ounces. It was like 4 ounces, God. A quarter of a pound. Bro, I ain't never. We let it all the way until he was the last. Him and his partner were the last one to weigh in. We went from a $5,000 payday to a $1,500 payday, which I'm not complaining about at all. Right. But still, it was that was a lot. Still a lot of money.
Right. Oh yeah.
But less than 5 or 4 ounces, it was what it come out to, and I was like, you got to be kidding me, man.
That's tough.
But it was fun though, because we just never had that really big bite to throw us over the edge. Does that make sense? Like we were catching so many 5 and 6 pound fish, we just never caught that 7 or that 8.
Right.
To really throw us over. I caught so many. I caught 3 sets of doubles in that tournament. And I'd never done anything like that before.
Man.
I'll tell you. So we went. He went Thursday. He put the boat in the lake, and I was driving up that night because we were going to practice on Friday. Well, he drove up on Thursday, and he put the boat in the lake, goes up to the first spot, makes 3 casts, catch 3 fish. Pulls trolling motor up, goes to the next spot, makes 3 casts, catch 3 fish. He does this about 5 or 6 times, and he calls me. He goes, "Dude, I've been out here like 45 minutes," and he said, I haven't not caught a fish on a cast yet." I'm like, what do you mean? He's like,
so that was the Thursday leading into
the Saturday tournament. So then I was like, "You're kidding me." He's like, "Bro, I've literally caught a fish on every cast." I said, "That is unheard of." We get there Friday. He's like, I'm taking the boat out. He said, "We'll just do something tomorrow." He said, I know what we're going to look at now that I've found this. And it was literally just a ledge deal. It was like you pull up to a ledge, you graph and you find them, and you just throw the crankbait up there or a big worm or whatever, and they just obliterate it.
Man.
Friday we go up there. My first cast with a 10XD. That's what we were throwing, 8 and 10XDs. Caught a 7-pounder right off the bat, and that was the first fish. And I was like, man. He's like, okay. So as soon as I caught it, he's like, yeah, we needed that for tomorrow. And he goes to the next spot. I literally I think we caught like 60 fish that day. And going into that Saturday tournament, I was so hyped. I was like, bro, we are about to put on a clinic.
Right.
Pull up to the first spot. Like in the video I had, my GoPro actually died because I was starting and stopping it because I was showed a long time ago to do a video like that. If you keep it running, and then as soon as you catch a fish and you finish out that sequence with the fish, stop it. So then that way at the end of that clip, I'm giving y'all knowledge, free knowledge. At the end of that clip, that there's a fish catch. So then that helps your editing down tremendously. I can't remember who showed me that, but yeah, that's a cool little tidbit for you guys. But yeah, dude, and then in the Saturday tournament, during the tournament, I caught 2 6-pounders that was one of my doubles, and I got it on camera. Dude, I flipped out. If I can find it, I'm gonna post it in here. I've got it. It's on YouTube. I'll probably just screenshot it from there. But
that's dope, dude.
Dude, it was so much fun.
That's a good day.
But I will say though that day was probably one of my best days.
Yeah.
But let's talk about some of these bad tournaments, because I feel like there's definitely more bad tournaments than we've had good tournaments.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll start this one off. So my very first BFL, okay, I've been told like, hey, if you want to fish, you want to learn something. He said, my friend told me, he's like, you need to fish the BFLs. I'm like, I don't have a boat.
Yeah.
He's like, no. He said they have a CoAngler deal. I was like, okay, that's awesome. And he showed me how to sign up and everything. And once I figured it out, I was like, that was easy. I could have figured that out. I get signed up. This was 2017. The very first tournament, we did the Savannah River, or I did the Savannah River. Very first tournament was Lake Kiowee, the Kiowee. Mm-hmm. That first tournament, we literally, I do everything like you're supposed to. You go to the meetings. I had never done this before, so I go to the meeting, meet my guy, and the guy tells me, he says, have you fished this lake before? And I was like, like maybe twice, like when I was little, because I don't have a boat.
Yeah.
And at that time I did not have like friends that could like take me to the lake or go up there, because that's Kiowee for me, living in where I live, is like, that's almost a 2-hour drive. So, and I mean, it's nothing now that I've gotten older and whatever, but at that time I was like, I don't want to drive that far,
Right.
If that makes any sense. I kind of sounds a little dumb, but I just never ventured that far out. Like I just wasn't comfortable venturing that far out. But anyway, Meet the guy, tells me, he said, okay. He said, I've never been on this lake before except for today. He said, I didn't really find anything. He said, then the weather's going to change tomorrow or whatever. And I'm sitting there going, okay, well, I'm still going fishing. Like, I'm still going to make the best of it.
Right.
He told me that he had actually fished it was the choo-choo division in Alabama, and they had like changed the schedule or something that year, and he didn't like it, and the way it lined up with his schedule and the other things that he was fishing, so he just decided to jump in this one with like 4 or 5 of his buddies that fished at that division that did the same thing. And he's like, I just want to learn new stuff. He caught a fish, and I zeroed. My very first tournament, I zeroed. And I was like, oh. But then the next tournament, though, was that Clark's Hill tournament I was talking about earlier. So it kind of evened itself out. So it was good there.
Right.
I think the next worst one for me was this might be a horror story, but I drew a boater for for Hartwell. We go and I didn't realize that I did not have cash because I always give money to my boat driver, to my boat guy. I didn't realize I didn't have cash. I thought I had like, $60 in my pocket, but I didn't.
Yeah.
We go fish and I did not catch a fish.
No.
I caught 2 fish, but they were this big. Obviously you can't weigh those in. Ended up going, I go to give him cash and I realized that I didn't have any cash. He said, oh, dude, he said, it's fine. He said, it was a bad day. He had a bad day. I think he only caught like one that was like 13 inches. And he was just like, oh, dude, don't worry about it. I was like, no. He said, I was like, I have to give you something. Right. And he said, no, just don't worry about it. And I was like, okay, well, I appreciate it. I had a good day. It was still fun talking, the whole 9 yards. And, sometimes it's just good camaraderie just to get on the boat like that, even if you don't catch anything.
Yep.
The very next tournament, dude, the Friday night, he calls me and he goes, hey, do you want to meet me in the morning? And I'm like, did we get drawn out again? I'm just going to say, I was like, did we get drawn out again? He's like, no. He's like, I was just wondering if you wanted to give me that $20. And I was like, are you kidding me right now?
Really asked you?
Yes, he called me and asked me. He's like, can you give me that $20 that you wanted to give me last tournament? And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. I think it was the 2-day. It wasn't the next tournament. It was the 2-day. That's what it was. And I'm sitting there going,
I would ask you who that was, but
I'm not name dropping nobody. I'm not name dropping nobody. But I'm just like, okay, that's fine. I don't care. Like, I'll give you $20, but yeah, that seriously happened. And I was like, wow. And this dude's driving a brand new truck, big old, I think it was a Legend. I think it was a nice Legend. I thought it was like silver and black. It was nice. I think it was anyway. I can't remember all the details. I had tunnel vision handing him that $20. I'm like, because I'll give you $20. I don't care, but like, he told me it was fine.
Right, for sure.
But you don't have no stories like that, do you?
Nah, not like that. No.
Well, let's hear some of your horror stories.
I guess like one.
And while you tell your horror stories, I'm going to try out this brand new Dr. Pepper Blackberry.
Yes, sir. Get the sponsors in there.
Here we go. The unsponsored sponsors. All right, here. Oh, this is the money shot. If I can get it. Oh, there it is.
Oh, no.
Blooper reel. That's a Dr. Pepper for you.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's cool.
Dang.
All right, so you were saying?
Let's see. Which one was I going to tell you? I guess I could think. There's one that's coming to my mind right now that I'm thinking about. There was one guy.
Oh, that's good.
You like it?
That's good. Oh, then the aftertaste hit me.
Yeah. It wasn't my favorite. I didn't.
It's got a good initial flavor on the front end, but the back end flavor is kind of like medicine.
Right.
Still good. I'll drink it though.
Yeah. One that I could think of off the top, I don't know. We pulled up to this spot. We were on Lake Hartwell. This was...
All of our stories happen on Hartwell.
Yep,
that's a trend.
Yep. And we put in at the up in the Clemson area. I can't remember the name of that ramp up there.
Was it
the newer ramp up there? It's
the newer ramp? Oh, I don't know about no newer ramp.
It's like close to the stadium up there.
That's
It might not be a newer ramp, but
I can't think of it.
I don't know. But anyway,
yeah.
But yeah, we put in up there, and he was like, he called me. He was like, yeah, I got some spots, and just talking it up, which is, I use it. I now I've realized, like, I'm just gonna do my thing once we get there, and I'm not gonna listen to, hey, I've heard several times, hey man, I'm on fish. I'm on hundreds of fish, and
that's always a telltale.
Yeah,
that they're not on fish.
No, because especially on Hartwell, man, those fish, I don't know, just from my experience, and I don't have a lot, but those fish don't stay there. I've never been to a lake where somebody say, I was catching them here this day, and we come back tomorrow and they're in the spot. Usually that don't happen. That's what I've learned. But yeah, he was like, yeah, I'm on fish. So I was like, cool. And so I just tied up what I was gonna do. And but not usually, but most of the time I'll throw a like a little crawl or something like that.
Yeah.
And we pulled up to the spot, and first spot, I caught one within like 2 casts. We rolled on a little bit further, and he was like, boom, I caught another one. You don't have anything at the moment.
You about to get backboated, ain't you? I already know it. I already know what's going to happen here.
So he looked back and was like, hey, what you throwing back there?
Here we go.
So I told him what I was throwing, and kept going a little bit further, and I missed one, probably like 4 pounds, dude. And he was like, man, I got to get one of those. And he's like, you got another one? So I was like, yeah. I gave him one or whatever. And
this is the beginning of the end.
Yeah, pretty much. And then we just kind of like stopped all of a sudden. Like I don't know. Like he I don't know. Well, anyway, he was saying that he had broke his back the day before the tournament. And I was like,
what?
No, the week leading into it.
What?
Yeah, that's what he told me.
So excuses, man, excuses.
So at like 10 o'clock,
I can't set the hook right. My back's broke.
So I had I think I had three fish at that time, 3 or 4 fish at that time. Yeah, at like 10 o'clock, but they weren't any size. The one good one I had came off. But yeah, so I turned around and was fishing, and I just heard him say, just like, and I think I turned around to pee or something like that.
Where is this going?
And I turned around. He was laying down on the deck of the boat. Like he was just laid out. I was like, yeah, man, my back is hurting. He said, I think that's it for me. And I was like, it's 10 o'clock.
Bro. Oh, my gosh.
So
if I broke my back, there's no chance I'm going to fish a fishing tournament.
That's right.
No chance.
So he was just...
No matter how much I love fishing, that's not going to happen.
Right. But yeah, he just... that's probably one of the worst... Which I didn't do well that tournament. Like I said, I had three little spots.
Well, in any case, just catching a fish gives you the points for the regional. Yeah. So that was always how I looked at it. It's like, if I only caught one fish, I at least knew I got points to go towards my regional berth. And I've been very lucky to make the regional, like, in all the trails that I fished.
Right.
There was one in particular that I didn't, because I just kept zeroing. I just kept getting bad draws.
That's this year.
Yeah. But, I mean, it happens. And I will say, though, that come to think of it, I got backboated. Hearing that story, I got backboated. We were on Clark's Hill, and we pulled up on the first spot, and it was like June. It was the June tournament. And pull up, and I've got a I can't even think of it. It's just a giant. It's like a just a giant topwater bait. I can't even think of the name of it. Too much pressure with the cameras and stuff. But no, I just had a pencil popper. That's what it was. It was a clear pencil popper. It was the that's what it was. It was the Yozuri 3DS or whatever pencil popper, just clear.
Yep.
And that sucker weighs like, ounce and a half. You can just sling that thing a mile.
Oh yeah.
Well, we pull up on the first spot, and that's exactly what we were doing. We were chasing schooling fish, and which is probably one of the most fun things for me to do. I love that so much.
Same here.
So we're just chasing schooling fish, and we pull up on this point, and he makes a cast across the point, and it had like an island, like an underwater island that kind of poked out, like it was like 5 foot deep at the top of it, and then it just kind of rolled off the front and rolled off the back, and it's like a slow dip on the back, kind of like a plateau-ish thing. That makes any sense? No, this is Clark Hill.
Oh, okay.
So we pull up there, and he makes a cast, and he had a fish swipe at his bait. He was just throwing like a little sexy dog junior or something. And by the way, I will throw the pictures of these lures up for people that don't know what these are. But he was throwing something like that, and I just saw the green swipe at it. And I'm just like, dude, that was a big fish. Well, I'm like, common courtesy is when something like that happens, you don't throw right in there. You you give him that other chance. Well, he don't take that chance, and he just fires it right back up on top. I just underhand roll pitch that sucker.
Yeah.
4.5 pounder. And he goes, "Are you kidding me?" I'm like,
did he get mad?
He started to. I caught the fish. Oh, he's like, well, good eye or whatever. I was like, did you not see the fish swipe at your bait? He's like, no, I didn't. I wasn't paying no attention. I'm like, bro. I was like, oh well, I threw that fish in the box. I mean, I literally as soon as he grabbed it and took it down, and I set the hook, and he come up, I saw he was green. I just immediately, I mean, he was about 10, 15 foot from the boat. So by the time I done cranked him 3 or 4 times, he's already right there, and I just boat flipped him. Got him in the boat, got him in the box. And so we stay there for another few minutes. I ended up catching another one. And then he caught like a 10 or 12 pound striper or hybrid, which was awesome. Like, just watch him fight it. Because as soon as it hit and it popped up, and I was like, because it knocked the bait out of the water first time. I'm like, bro, and he just kept working it. And then it, boom, it hit again. And then this time it grabbed a hook, and he took it down. He got it all the way around. He starts fighting it. He just goes, "This is a striper." And I'm just like, "How do you know?" And I started watching how it was fighting. I was like, "Yeah, it's a striper." Yeah, and he gets it up, and he's like, "Man," I was like, "Dude, I was thinking that was like a 7 or 8 pounder."
Right.
But so to kind of get the story moving, we go to the next spot, and I've kind of done downsized a little bit because the sun's starting to come up. I went to like a pop-R, and I just throwing it up on the banks and stuff, and we wasn't really like deep water now. I mean, we're just up on the banks. But it was like deep. It wasn't shallow banks, but it wasn't deep banks. It's kind of like that mid-range, like 4 or 5 foot or whatever, just enough to where like they push bait up, and you'd see it like going down the bank or whatever. You see them push bait up and the whole 9 yards, and but going down, caught a fish on the very next spot. Like, he had made this long cast, how the bank made like an L shape. He made a long cast down the bank, nothing doing. So as the boat continued to go by, I made that same cast.
Right.
Boom. Caught another one.
Right.
I think I ended up catching, I probably caught 9 or 10 fish the whole day. But it was literally every spot we went to, I caught fish. And he didn't. And as the day went on, I kind of picked it up that we were going to more difficult spots for me to fish, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And I could tell it. Because at the end of the day, he was targeting specific stuff. Like, he would pull up, and he'd like, all right, I'm throwing at this brush pile right here, or just, something like that. And we're out in the middle of the lake, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And I just start working like a shaky head or something behind the boat.
Yeah.
doing, doing, catch a fish. Yeah. And I caught, that was the dagger right there when I caught the fourth keeper of the day throwing a shaky head completely opposite of where he was at, and I was just like, yeah. He was like, yeah, I think I'm done for the day.
Dang.
I mean, we had a long ride to go back to, and I was like, yeah, I'm already tired. You know, it's hot. It's June. It's like 95 degrees out there. There's no wind whatsoever.
That's brutal.
It's brutal. But yeah, so that happened. But we're not gonna not talk about this. Okay. And you know what's about to happen.
I think so.
For anybody that knows this story or was out there that day, because we're definitely going to talk about this. And this is actually a good story. I will say this is a good story for my boater, because my boater was awesome. And I'm still friends with that guy. My boater was really good. So this was right before the pandemic hit. February 2020, Lake Kiowee. There was talks of rain. Well, rain turned to snow rather quickly. And I was sitting there thinking, man, it's going to be awesome to fish in the snow. It's like the Chihuahua meme of, like, you know, back in wartime days. It's like, you know, it's a bad memory. We started out that morning, and I remember at blast off, dude, it was bluebird sky. There wasn't a cloud anywhere. And we blast off from South Cove, and we go up.
Was that the first tournament?
That's the first tournament.
Yeah.
And then the very next week, we were at Hartwell, and it was just as bad.
Yeah.
Or 2 weeks later, we were at Hartwell, and it was cold and windy that day, but it was not the snowstorm.
Right.
But
I'm trying to think if that was my first year or not.
That was 2020. Maybe it was, yeah, because I got you a link that time.
I think, you sure it was the first tournament or not the second tournament?
That was the very first tournament. That was because it was right before the pandemic hit.
Okay, maybe 2019 was my first year.
Okay. I remember I think I got you helped. I think I helped you get signed up. I think so. I got you a link.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I think I got you a link several times.
Yep.
Or like, you know, you see it on that Facebook linking page, you know, I'd like, oh, Trey, here you go. Here's your link or whatever.
Yep.
For those that don't know, if you sign up the Tuesday, the week before the tournament with a link, so basically a boater with a co-angler, then you're guaranteed to get, or the boater's basically guaranteed to get a co-angler draw. If you don't have a link and there's more boaters than co-anglers, then the boater's likely to have a boater on boater draw. And that's a huge topic of debate that we're not going to get into today. But, so we blast off that morning. Dude, I am dressed up. I have got my neoprene boots on, like the nice thick ones. I think it was like 1,200 gram insulated, whatever. I had on my overalls. I had on, the long johns underneath with a pair of blue jeans, or not blue jeans. I had sweatpants. I had sweatpants on top of that, and then on my shirt, I had just a basic undershirt with a t-shirt, and then I had a long sleeve shirt on top of that with a hoodie. Then I got my overalls on top of that, and then and on top of all of that, I had that. It was like a Columbia wind jacket, that nylon wind jacket.
Right.
And I have an awesome trapper hat that connects and stuff, dude. It's the warmest. It's like a nylon top and everything.
You was locked in.
I was locked in. But let me tell you something. The problem is that with that tournament, when it started snowing and the snow started accumulating on the bottom of the boat, them boots were no good.
No.
Absolutely zero good. I was warm, but my feet were icicles.
Yeah, dude.
And if anybody knows, if your feet hurt, everything hurts.
Everything.
And it was absolutely the worst.
It was.
But I literally, and Michael, his name is Michael Purvis, he will attest to this. I literally sat down in the bottom of the boat because I was hurting so bad.
Yeah.
I was warm. I mean, I was fine being warm and stuff, but my feet were hurting so bad. I literally thought that I was going to take my boots off and my feet were going to be black,
dude,
from frostbite.
Well, mine was, but.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, Lord, man.
But yeah, dude, my feet were freezing. Once my hands and my feet, dude, I can't do it.
Yeah, dude. I had some nice gloves on. My gloves were really good. I had some like it was like the Under Armour chill gloves or whatever they're called. They were really good. They worked really well. I was able to cast with it and the whole 9 yards. It was really good. Right. I actually think it was part of like their fishing line or whatever. But dude, my feet were hurting so bad. I literally now this was the cool part. I thought this was cool. I had 2 fish in the box. I caught 2 fish pretty early. I literally stood up. Or after it started snowing and stuff, and I sat down, I was hurting. Yeah. And credit to Michael, he was like, dude, he's like, if you're hurting, like, we'll just go in. He said, because I'm hurting too. I don't know how he his feet didn't freeze or he just didn't complain about it. Because he had on like Nikes, and I know for a fact his feet had to be frozen. He had to.
Did y'all go in? Did y'all stay?
No, we stayed. I told him, I was like, dude, I'm going to stay. I'm just going to tough it out.
Yeah.
We literally go, it's just downpour snowing, dude. And you were there.
Yeah.
It's just downpour snowing. And we get back in this pocket. And, I finally got up to gumption. I'm like, you know what? I'm out here. I'm going to make the best of it. I've already got 2 fish in the box. I was throwing that little Kitech around. I threw that Kitech right up beside the dock. And I caught like a 2.5 pound spot. And as soon as I caught that fish, put in the box, I was like, I'm done. I was like, I ain't doing this no more. I'm about to freeze to death. Because it was like 20 degrees with the wind blowing and snowing on top of that. It just was not a good feeling at all.
That was a rough tournament.
I told myself, I was like, if there's ever snow in the forecast, I'm never going back.
Right.
I'm never doing that again.
Well, the crazy thing is I never fished in the snow, and people were like, dude, when it starts, my boater, he was like, when it starts snowing,
they're going to start biting.
Yeah.
They're going to start biting.
It never started for me. I didn't
I caught that one fish up beside the dock, and that was about it. We were fishing pretty much like main lake stuff for a little bit, and then we kind of like went back into the creeks, and I think he ended up fishing with a limit or whatever. But dude, when I got back to the truck, I literally I pull him out of the water, and he hooks everything up. He takes me over to the truck. As soon as I got to my truck, I just started stripping. I had all these layers on, and I was walking around like this already with all the stuff I had on.
Yeah.
I just started stripping, threw all my rods and stuff in the back of the truck.
Yeah.
And I get all the way down to my boots, take the boots off, and I'm like, I'm fully prepared to see, black toes at this point, like straight up frostbite. And I look, and thankfully they were not, but they were like that red peachy color. If that makes any sense, where like,
I guess I wouldn't know.
Oh my gosh. Well, they were like, it was like just like it's been red for a long, or it's been irritated or whatever. And it hurt, dude. I turned on the heat in that truck on the floor, and I sat in that parking lot for about an hour like that. And then as soon as I had feeling in my feet enough to drive, I drove home.
Yeah.
And even the roads on the way back were just as bad. But as soon as you got below, easily or whatever, it was perfectly fine. Right. Like there wasn't hardly anything on the road, but there was still 4 or 5 inches up on like in South Cove or whatever.
Right.
Absolutely the worst time of my life.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I will say, well, we've been at this for a hot minute now. We've been rolling right along. This is fun. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, me too. And they can't hear me on this one right here.
Oh, they can't hear you? Oh, so he's got the live camera going on his TikTok.
I don't know if I've never done it.
Uh-oh. You got any viewers, though? People watching?
Everybody keeps saying, I can't hear you.
Oh.
Why does it say? I don't know.
Technology these days, man, I tell you.
Oh, well. Can't figure it out. Not tech savvy enough, I guess.
Well, we're rounding this thing down. It's fine.
Oh yeah, we good.
But yes, so after all of that, your good and your bad experiences, what's been some of your takeaways? I should say, like lessons, I guess.
I've definitely learned a lot. So there hasn't really. Out of all the bad, there's a lot of good at the same time.
Right.
Which I don't own a boat and probably won't be for a while with this economy right now. But
things have got to change.
Yeah. But it's my opportunity to get out and fish, so I can't really complain. You know what I mean? So I get the opportunity to do that. But I've been with some good, really good guys that know. You can tell, like, they go getters. But yeah, just the learning. I don't know. Just the learning experience that I get for when I do purchase a boat, that I can, let me try this. You know what I'm saying? Stuff you can't really learn off the bank. Because it's different depths. You can, it's different depths off the bank. But, you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you're saying. I will say though, you'll get into a situation when you get a boat and you'll get into a BFL or whatever, and you'll draw a little young co-angler.
Yep.
And you'll be like, oh, by the way, you'll start remembering some of the things that you experienced, and that's what I figured. Like, you can't think of it like right now. That's fine. Yeah. There's some things I can't even think about either. But it's when it happens. It's like you'll see a fish blow up or whatever, and you start thinking like, okay, well, I can throw this bait, this time, and then you start thinking about, oh, well, I remember I did that, with Johnny or whatever that boater guy's name was.
Right.
And it's just stuff like that, and then boom, you're showing the next guy. So I think all in all, it's really good. But I think that with the way the forward facing sonar stuff is it's kind of been a hindrance. We've there was a couple more stories I was going to share, but I think we've kind of run out of time for today's episode. But I know for a fact Mr. Trey's going to come back.
Oh yeah, for sure,
because he's got some more tournaments to fish and he's got some more experiences to tell us.
Yep, for sure.
I don't know when my next tournament's going to be honest with you, because I don't have any rods.
Busy man.
I'm working all the time. Now I'm doing a podcast.
Yep.
Never would have thought I'd be doing a podcast, but here I am.
Yeah.
I've only been working at this for the last year, and I was like, the longer it went, I was like, man, I don't really think this is going to happen. And now we've kind of, 3 episodes in 3 days basically, and I've got a lot more scheduled. So, going to make a nice trip to Texas next week.
Awesome.
So this is the week before the Classic. So I don't know when this one is exactly going to come out. So, but I'm just trying to, while I've got the gumption and the want to, that's the big thing. You got to have the want to.
Got to.
As long as I've got this want to, then I'm going to keep doing it until, something breaks or I break.
I feel you.
But, well, I certainly appreciate you guys tuning in for today. I'm sure Mr. Trey over here is just as glad as I am.
Yeah, I am.
I'm glad you got to come down here, buddy.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate the Dr. Pepper, and I'm glad it didn't make a stain on the thing, but it's fine. It's a fishing dock, right?
That's right.
Thing's nice, ain't it?
Yes, it is. I like it, bro.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, we'll see you next time. I don't know who the next guest is going to be, but it's going to be awesome. So we'll catch y'all later.
Right.